everybody. It's great to be here with you today. My name is Susan Cain. I am an author of several books, including Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. Now, personality psychologists agree on almost nothing about human nature. But the one thing that they really do agree on is the fact that introversion and extroversion are the most salient personality trait. This is the personality trait that defines so much about the way that we work, the way that we interact, the way that we make decisions, the way that we love each other. It shapes us in so many ways that we're not really aware of. And I want today, in the time that we have together, to get you to heighten that awareness so that you can use it to understand yourselves and also all the people around you. But I'm going to start by just telling you a story. People often ask me how it is that I came to be so passionate about this topic in the first place of introverts in an extroverted world. And as is true, I'm sure, for many of you who can trace your passions back to a time when you were much younger, that's how it is for me. So I'm going to tell you a story dating back to the time I was 9 years old. And I went off to summer camp for the first time. And my mother packed for me a suitcase full of books, which in the family in which I grew up was a really natural response to going off to the woods for the summer. I came from this family where the primary group activity was reading. And I had this vision that I was going to get to camp and I would be surrounded by my new friends and we would cozily be reading novels together in our matching pajamas. And I got there on that first day and was confronted with a very different reality in the form of a camp counselor who said that she would be teaching us a cheer, which we would then be performing for the rest of the summer. And the cheer went like this. It went, R-O-W-D-I-E, that's the way we spell rowdy, 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 let's get rowdy. Now, I couldn't figure out for the life of me, why were we supposed to be so rowdy all the time? And why did we have to spell this word incorrectly? But I learned to recite the cheer and I kind of learned to like it too. And I did my best approximation that whole summer of a rowdy and gregarious camper. And I did that through the rest of my childhood. And I did it into my adulthood too, because you're always getting these messages that that's who you should be. And this became such a habit for me that I even became a Wall Street lawyer instead of the writer that I had always longed to be. I practiced corporate law for about 10 years, and this was because I was so much in the habit of pretending to be someone I was not. I'm actually a big believer in the importance of stepping outside your comfort zone. So I'm not telling you not to do that if you're an introvert listening to this. But I am saying there's a big difference between stepping outside your comfort zone healthily versus really trying to turn yourself inside out. And we'll talk a little later about that difference. But for now, I want to just get you thinking about who you are and where do you fall on this introvert-extrovert spectrum. And so I'm just going to ask you to imagine that you are going to a party. Which I know for many of us is something we really have to imagine these days. It's a party that you're truly enjoying, and you've been there for about 2-3 hours. And how do you feel when you hit the 2 or 3 hour mark? If you're more of an extrovert listening to this, it's as if you have an internal battery that is getting charged by this experience, and you're starting to get ready for the after party. You're looking for more. If you're an introvert, no matter how socially skilled you might be, after that 2 hour mark, your internal battery is starting to drain. And so you're starting to kind of wish that you could teleport right home. Now, this idea of the internal battery that we all have is an incredibly important metaphor. And I do at the same time want you to understand that it's just a metaphor for what is happening neurobiologically. Because the fact is we are all wired differently. And extroverts have nervous systems that are wired to react less to stimulation of all kinds, And this means that extroverts feel really good when lots of things are going on around them. But when there's not enough happening, you're going to start to feel listless and sluggish, like you're understimulated. For introverts, because you're more stimulated to begin with, you will tend to get overstimulated when too much is happening around you, and you're going to feel like you're in your sweet spot when things are a little quieter and mellower, because now your stimulation levels are just right. Now, we tend to think of this stuff as being about, like, how do you show up at a party or a meeting maybe, but it extends way beyond that. So for example, the psychologist Russell Cain did a famous experiment where he gave math problems to introverts and extroverts to solve with varying levels of background noise playing. And he found that the extroverts did really well when the background noise was loud. The introverts did not do so well when the background noise was louder, because they were that much more overstimulated. And so what I'm saying is this is a profound bit of research for those of us who care about the way people think and work and create and thrive, because it's telling us that there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all environment. And if we want everybody working at their best, we have to create environments with varying levels of stimulation so that we can each be in our sweet spot as much as possible throughout the day.